I'm Steve Adubato. It's our pleasure to welcome for the first time on our set Bill Sproule, who is Assistant Executive Secretary Treasurer, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Good to see you, Bill.
Good to see you, Steve.
Describe the organization.
Well, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters is a 7-state regional council of carpenters. We're approximately 45,000 members, just shy of that. We have everything from carpenters that do heavy construction foundation up to floor layers and finish carpenters. I think our trade is one of the best kept secrets out there as far as the diversity of what carpenters actually do on construction sites.
What states?
Our states are New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, District of Columbia, Virginia, West Virginia, and actually I got to throw in 10 counties in Northern Carolina and 3 counties in Ohio as part of our regional council.
Good stuff. I'm curious about this from a, I don't want to say from a policy perspective, but I was reading in preparation for this about underground construction, the underground construction economy. What is it and why does it matter so much, not just to your members, but to the overall economy?
I think that it's kind of something that the average public people don't understand what's going on in the construction industry, but we refer to it now as tax fraud or payroll fraud in the construction industry. And
that's a big word. Why fraud?
Because contractors are out there operating unscrupulously. They go ahead and they get big contracts for projects, private, not so much as public projects, but mostly in the private sector. And they're $2, $3, $4 million contracts, sometimes even higher than that. They're getting workers that they're actually exploiting by having them do the work for low wages, little or no benefits, most of the time no benefits.
Are they non-union?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's open shop. Non-union is where this occurs because there's no collective bargaining agreements there to protect the workers. And what's happening is they estimate, the economists estimate that this is a $60 billion a year issue in the United States.
Are we getting the taxes?
No, sir.
How is hold on one second. Social Security, taking out FICA, right? Taxes, federal taxes, not coming out?
On these particular jobs, and our teams have gone out and investigated this stuff and submitted complaints to the Department of Labor, whether it's a state agency or their federal agency.
By the way, state taxes paid or not?
No, sir.
No.
Unemployment disability doesn't get paid. And, what happens is the developers on these projects where they decide to utilize this type of a workforce have a choice. They can either go with legitimate contractors or they can try to get their numbers down and whittle the price down. And when they bring in unscrupulous contractors like this, everybody loses because the contractors aren't paying taxes, the workers are being exploited. Workman's compensation is literally non-existent for the workers on that job.
Somebody gets hurt on a job, what happens?
They'll drop them off at the hospital.
Why isn't there more attention or focus on this, Bill?
I think that it's become a problem in New Jersey probably over the last 10 to 15 years. With the housing bubble that occurred and the Great Recession, the workforce in our particular state has kind of grown with this respect. Stockton Hughes Center for Public Policy did a study a couple of years ago on the—
Down at Stockton University.
Down at Stockton, yes, sir. And they estimated that there's about 35,000 workers working off the books in New Jersey in the construction industry. And that equates to about anywhere between $540 to $1.2 billion in wages that do not touch any kind of taxes or do not come into the system. It's basically the underground economy. And those estimates are very modest and conservative. I mentioned the $60 billion number nationally. There's states that have predominantly open shop construction, right to work for less, as we call it. And construction workers in some of those states predominantly work this way, and the poverty levels in the construction industry are much, much higher.
Let me ask you this, Bill. We've had offline conversations to disclose your organization is an underwriter of the work that we do, particularly in the area of public policy-oriented programming. I'm curious about this. Do you think that in the minds of some, particularly in political positions, that unions like yours are targets? And if so, targets of what?
It's a very intense environment down in Washington right now, and I think you've got a lot of people that look at unions as something that
you're the enemy.
That we're the enemy, basically.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think that comes from a business perspective where corporations and companies and very wealthy people are trying to get more dollars out of their investments and not really considering the average working people and don't really care too much about the middle class in this country.
How's the president been on this, President Trump?
I don't think he's been very proactive on this issue.
Well, he talks about the working man and woman. Often it's talking about working men, but I believe he means both genders. That he's a champion of the working man and or woman, you say?
I would say that what's happening down in D.C. right now with regards to things that are happening with the president and some of the Supreme Court nominees and things of that nature that are going on, that everything seems to be building up as negative to the working people. We're going to have some difficult times ahead with regards to the middle class and trying to bring more people and elevate more people into the middle class with some of the things that have been going on down there.
Let's talk diversity and inclusion. You have an initiative, I think it's called Sisters in the Brotherhood. What is that, A? And B, talk to us about immigration in this regard.
Sisters in the Brotherhood is an organization within our organization that we have a group of women in the north, or actually in the Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters, that help recruit other women into the construction industry, and it's been very successful here in New Jersey. It's being expanded into other areas throughout our regional council, cities such as Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and it allows ladies to come into a non-traditional setting and actually have a career path in the construction industry if they so choose. And
it's opening doors?
It is opening a lot of doors for folks, yes, sir.
Immigration, minute left. Anti-immigration, if let me put it this way. There are folks in this country who believe, obviously, we need to change and improve immigration policy. Open, big question, I know. But those who are shut down the borders, nobody in, you say?
I say that there's 12 to 15 million people already here working amongst us, and shutting down the borders is not the answer.
Aren't you afraid of losing some of the jobs for your men and women?
We're actually bringing in a lot of immigrants into our ranks, into our unions. When you look at the demographic in the construction industry right now, it used to be Irish, Italian, Germans that came into the trade many years ago. Now there is a lot of Latino workers in the industry, whether it's residential or commercial, and a lot of those folks are coming and joining our ranks. What's difficult is the people that don't have the citizens status right now, the tax ID number people, and the people that have to somehow work in the shadows. That has to be tightened up, and we advocate for that to happen. We're actually thinking about looking into having a law firm that maybe could help represent some of our members and their citizenship issues to try to get them help so that they can become working citizens of the country.
Bill, appreciate you joining us. All the best to the men and women in your organization.
Thank you, Steve.
Well
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back right after this.